Hi, guys. Welcome to the PHP. My name is Booker. That would be Perez. Please tell us what's coming up.
Oh, my gosh. So much. We're talking the ongoing Simone Biles situation, DaBaby's homophobia moment and backlash, Matt Damon's own F-word controversy, Olivia Rodrigo's offensive video, Scarlett Johansson taking on Disney, some new Britney Spears developments, and more. But first, I'm a little sad.
What's wrong?
Well, we got together on Friday with a friend of ours, and it was nice and normal. And, you know, we were chatting and catching up with each other and with her. And, you know, she's a listener and a watcher, or a listener of the podcast. I don't think she watches. And I was just depressed because we've been doing this podcast for 6 years. And we were talking about how can we grow it and this and that and the other. And I like to be honest. She gave us some great feedback. I just don't know if it's very doable at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's what depressed me. But here's the but.
Okay.
Everybody listening and watching, if you help us grow this, who knows? We can go back to 2 times a week or 3 times a week.
Sure.
If we grow this, we could even do it 5 times a week. Maybe that might be too much, but if we really grow this, we could do it 2 or 3 times a week. So share this with your friends, share it on YouTube, share it everywhere at the Perez Hilton YouTube channel and PerezPodcast.com. And let's get to the show. Although, how are you? You had a good weekend?
I had a great weekend. It was good seeing you. Good seeing your kids. I can't believe how big they've gotten. It's been a year and a half, 2 years since I've seen you in the flesh. So it was nice to be at your house and hanging out. So I had a good time. Really nice time.
And let me tell you something, actually. I was going to move on, but I don't even know how you can. Booker drank an entire bottle of wine by himself. And then got
for the record, for the course of 2.5 hours.
Well, but still, it's an entire bottle of wine. And then you drove home.
And then we had dinner on top of it. Yeah.
I could not drive on an entire bottle of wine.
If you think about it, a bottle of wine is only like a cup of wine. You know what I mean? It's like, it's only a cup. Yes, it is. When you go to the Hollywood Bowl, they give you these big cup, the plastic cup. They pour the whole thing in and you say, well, that's really not that much. And like I said, it was over the course of almost 3 hours. So, and plus we were eating and shooting the shit. So I don't know.
All right. Well, I should have given you some magic spoon to fill you up even more before you left.
I have my own magic spoon. It's like reliving my childhood when I eat that stuff. I love it.
I love that our viewers and listeners love Magic Spoon too. It's a meal which you could have for breakfast, which most people probably do, but you could also have it for lunch or for dinner. It is the healthiest, yummiest cereal out there. Magic Spoon has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams. Plus, it's 140 calories total a serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low carb. And now Magic Spoon is bringing back 2 super popular flavors, cookies and cream and maple waffle, permanently. So go to magicspoon.com, pick and match, get the flavors that speak to you. Try it today. It is backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if for any reason you do not like it, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. Go to magicspoon.com/Perez and use the code Perez to save $5 off. Thank you to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this episode. We did a little chit chat. I'm not quite ready yet to start the show, because I want to mention very briefly some news that I don't really want to talk about in depth because it's really sad. But 3 very sad stories to share. First, Kathy Griffin just announced that she has lung cancer. And she never smoked before, she said. So that's scary. Thankfully, she said that it's only stage 1. It's isolated to just 1 lung. And, you know, she's being told that it'll be fine. So even though Kathy Griffin and I do not like each other, I wish her a full recovery. And of course, I want nothing but the best for her. And
I didn't know you didn't like Kathy Griffin. Just thought she didn't like you.
I don't like her. She's a backstabbing wench, but I wish her nothing but the best. Okay. This is very like, even over the weekend, I shared this story that in San Francisco, the people that are being hospitalized that are not vaccinated, it's 8 times more people unvaccinated.
Yeah. And well, the numbers are near 100%. I mean, it's 99 something. These people that are being put into the hospital, all you got to do is get your vaccine and people will be okay. But
I made this video where I was in the shower and just reading that, and I was like happy that I'm vaccinated. That's what I was trying to convey. I'm like, thank God I don't have to worry about dying. But anyways, wanted to touch upon that briefly. Also, really, really sad news. The 4-year-old daughter of rapper Fetty Wap has passed away.
That is fucking awful.
We don't know what happened yet. No cause of death has been revealed by the family. And, they don't need to reveal it to anybody if they don't want to. So just sending, Fetty Wap and the mother and the family positive vibes. And finally, this story just it sucked because it was an ongoing story for several days, and I was really hoping and praying for a miracle for this family. But this 19-year-old TikTok star, you probably heard about this, went to go see the latest Purge film with this girl on their first date, and somebody in the movie theater shot them both. The girl died that same day, and then this poor 19-year-old Anthony Barajas died over the weekend. So just sending light to that family and the other family as well. All right. Now we're easing our way into the show. And at the top, I want to do something different today because honestly, even bigger than anything in pop culture, the thing that everybody is talking about now, again, is COVID and this Delta variant, and people with their very strong opinions about the vaccine and what should or shouldn't happen. And over the last 7 days, several big corporations and the federal government has instituted vaccination mandates to go back to work. And if you're not going to get vaccinated, then you need to take part in regular testing. Do you think that, like, let's say, for example, a school, with an elementary school, do you think that teachers should be forced to get the vaccine?
Let's not spend too much time on this because this is so fucking obvious, and to have this conversation seems fucking dumb at this point. Absolutely, they should. People are fucking stupid, and that's the point I'm going to make.
You think it's obvious, but a lot of people don't.
When they go to school, have to get vaccines to get into the school. Okay, kids aren't lining up, and we've been fine for years and years, and blah blah blah. But you have all these fucking stupid people that are going saying like it's experimental vaccine.
Yes, it's not FDA approved yet.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, first of all, neither is the flu shot. Every single year. It's never FDA approved. Why? Because the FDA takes fucking years to get around to approve something. And you know what happens with the flu every year? It changes. It mutates. It goes into something else. And the flu shot, by the way, doesn't cover every flu. A flu shot, all it does is it takes the most popular strands that are out there. So you're not completely, you still may get the flu because it might be another strand, or it may be something that has mutated, hence the Delta variant. It's the same thing. Okay. But they know what's in it. They're like, well, they don't know what's in it. They know exactly what's in it. Number one. Number two, the fucking federal government didn't make this vaccine. Corporations did. Science did. Okay. They got together and they found the answer. For the first time ever, these people have gotten together and said, hey, let's work together and figure this out, which they did. It's just much like a flu strand. And now you got all these whack jobs out there going, well, the government, it's socialism and da, da, da. So is the FDA. By the way, the FDA is a fucking government agency. They're sitting there going, well, it doesn't have FDA approval. So which way do you want it? It's socialist that they're making you get it, government, or it's not FDA approved, government. It has nothing to do with the government, you fucking dumbasses. Just take your fucking shot so we can all get back to a normal life. But we're not going to because people are fucking stupid.
Well, I don't.
There you go. There's my rap.
All right. I don't think that everything can be blamed on Donald Trump, but a lot can.
A lot of it can, because people just think it's a government thing. They just think that's their right. It's not your right, asshole. You're getting other people sick.
I'm curious about two things. Well, first, Donald Trump did an excellent job over the course of the 4 years he was in the White House and leading up to that while running, a phenomenal job of instilling distrust of the media. And then
everything in voting, in everything.
You're not letting me say anything. And then when he got in the White House, he did an even better job of also instilling distrust in government itself, as we saw perhaps most flagrantly over the last few months he was in the White House, with saying that it was a rigged and fake election. I wonder if he was still in the White House, if these same people who are now reluctant to get it, if they would get it, because he got it and he did tell people to get it.
Who can make sense of these You're asking me to think like a crazy person. I'm not. The answer's right there. The numbers are up every fucking day now.
I'll tell you.
But in the defense of the shot too, the numbers over the past course of the 2 weeks, people are starting to get their shots again, which is a good sign. But oh yes, the numbers have been up for the past 2 weeks. People are afraid. People are saying, gotcha. I better get the shot because this Delta's no joke, and it is no joke. I mean, that the hospitalization number in Florida is through the roof. I mean, these fucking whack jobs are like, I'm getting the fucking, they may as well call it the Democratic shot. It's people are nuts.
Well, and
people,
they say.
I have unfollowed so many people and I don't even care if they're fucking not listening to the show anymore. I swear to God, I don't care. It's the one time I'll ever say that. If you are so fucking stupid to think that you're smarter than scientists, I don't want you listening to the show. Go find another fucking show to listen to. You're not. You're a bunch of fucking dopes if you think you're smarter than science. You're not.
That's the thing. They really think that
I know they do.
Smarter.
That's what's so dangerous about it. You get all of these people in an echo chamber saying the same dumb shit to one another, and they really start believing it because their friends are saying it. Your friends are fucking dumb too. Okay. You're all dumb if you think that the vaccination is bad for you. It's experimental. Shut up. Shut up.
And then,
but then, it's so goofy. It does have FDA approval, by the way. It's emergency use approval. I want to make that clear. Okay. People.
They just don't get it. It's like,
of course they don't get it because they're dopes.
You could still get COVID if you get the vaccine.
You won't die though.
Exactly.
You're not going to die. The mortality rate is less than like 1% of 1%. It's so minuscule.
But they keep saying, "Oh, well, it has not been studied and tested over a long period of time. We don't know."
Let's do entertainment. I'm agitated.
All right, let's move on. I wanted to chime in more, but you just went off. All right.
I've said enough because I'm the only person that's going to speak logically to these boneheads. These fucking people.
They think you're wrong.
They need someone like Donald Trump, like me, someone that doesn't mind speaking the truth. I'm tired of watching politicians with their fucking kid gloves. They should come on and say, hey, dickhead, you dumb shits. Here's the facts. Pay attention. You have to speak their language to these stupid fucking people. And I wish someone would just come out and quit acting like that kid gloves. Of course, these corporations are not going to let people come into their business anymore. They don't want people to get sick. They don't want blood on their fucking hands. I wouldn't either. But we have so many freedoms here that you have the freedom to be stupid here as well.
The main problem is people they don't trust. Like I shared that statistic.
It's like they don't trust the government. It has nothing to do with the government. The government went out, but all they did was pay for it. And by the way, Pfizer didn't even take the money. That you or me?
That's my dog.
Oh, there's your doggy.
He's in my room. No, the people think the government is lying about numbers. How will you convince them? No, they're not lying about these numbers and whatever.
Pull up to a hospital. That's what I would say to those people.
All right.
Talk to anyone working in an ER. Talk to anybody. Talk to any medical care worker. They'll tell you what's going on.
Well, they still think they're smarter than them. All right.
No, they're not. They're fucking dopes.
Actually, one quick last thing. This one judge in Louisiana, instead of making people that have committed crimes and are on probation do community service, this judge is letting people get their vaccine instead of doing community service. What are your thoughts on that?
Interesting. I mean, we're paying people $100 a shot. I've seen in some places.
The judge argued,
people,
the judge argued,
just get a shot.
The judge argued that, getting your vaccine is doing a community service. And that's why they offered this option to folks. I think that you should force the people doing community service to get the vaccine, maybe just do a little bit less and still do some community service.
Well, we don't need to force. If the government just did a better job of tracking the people that have, if they had a universal system where they said, look, you can't come in without your badge or whatever it is, something that can't be copied or you can't make from TikTok, something that's legit, that's tied to you. But that's the whole thing. Well, you're tracking me and this and that and the other thing. It's like, oh my God.
All right. I do have to say, I do not think that it should be mandatory forced for everybody. However, I do think that companies should have the right to be able to say
Absolutely.
what they want.
It's like, hey, and if you're a restaurant, you don't want somebody in, fine. You don't have to shop there. You don't have to go to eat there. No one's forcing you. No one.
And it's
the same with the Karens trying to go to Costco and stuff. I'd be like, no. This is our rule. You don't come in. You can go shop anywhere else you want. Bye. Get the fuck out. Bye. They should have someone like me at the door. Get the fuck out. And I just sit there and I wave. Bye, fucker. Dumbass. They need me because I volunteer to do it.
The main reason I don't think it should be mandatory for everybody is because, you and I live in Los Angeles, but there are a lot of people that live in like bumblefuck Kansas in the middle of nowhere. They might have little to no cases. If you live super isolated from everybody and you work on your farm, you shouldn't have to get it if you don't want to. You're not at risk to exposing people. So, but yeah, private companies should be able to do whatever they want. And come on, like, we're not going to get back to normal if people don't do their part.
People don't understand that.
All right.
I can't believe how long this is going to drag on. I think we're going to be talking about this in 2 years. Because I think there's just too many whack jobs.
I don't get it though. Like, let them keep getting hospitalized. Like,
I just hate taxing our healthcare workers. I hate that these people have to sit there and, put their own life at risk, even though they have shots. Most of the sane ones have shots. Still, it's like, do they really want to sit there and be dealing with the same thing? It's like people running around, coming in with head injuries because they don't wear a fucking helmet or something, like over and over and over and over again. And you're like, at one point, or you put your hands in the air, like, why don't you just wear a helmet?
Like,
you had a lot of stories. Let's get to those stories.
Let's get to it. All right. The Olympics, Simone Biles, over the weekend, she announced that she was pulling out of a couple of more events. You know how gymnastics works. There's the team competition. Then there's the all-around individual competition. Then there's just the individual event competitions. Mm-hmm. She was pulling out of several of the competitions over the weekend. And what surprised me is when this Simone Biles story first broke, it was and continues to be so polarizing. Mm-hmm. I thought after people had a moment or a day or two to think about it, they would really understand what it's all about. Because I'll share my initial thought. When the story first broke, it was, oh, she's no longer going to compete in the team competition. I thought, okay, all right, fine. She wants to make sure that she's at her best for her individual events. And then she pulled out of that as well. And then I realized, you know what? I was originally saying, well, why not just try? Just try. But it's not like tennis, right? It's not like running a marathon. It's not like swimming. She could really hurt herself seriously or die doing the gymnastics difficult stunts that she does. I mean, hers are the most difficult of anybody's. Nobody compares to her level of difficulty. So when you think about it that way, I'm like, all right, she's done this for so long. She knows her body, she knows her brain. And there's this thing that I didn't know about called the Twisties, which gymnasts know about. And if you get the Twisties, you're completely disoriented, which she was when she competed in the Olympics on the vault. Her eyes were all over the place. She landed wrong. She didn't do enough turns as she was supposed to.
When you watch that, aren't you just baffled? Like, how the fuck do you know what to do in the air, like in turn 2.5? Like, how does your body even have comprehension of, I guess it's muscle memory, but I still just don't, it makes no sense. Watching that just makes no sense to me. Archery, that makes sense to me. There's, basketball makes sense to me. Watching someone flip in the air and diving, the same thing. Like, how the fuck do you, and they do it in unison. Like, some of these things really blow my mind. I have no idea how they do that shit. I can barely touch my toes. So I barely have an opinion on any of this shit.
But so many people were calling her a quitter. We're calling her unpatriotic.
She's already won. I mean, she won in the last Olympics. I mean, listen, if this is the first one and she's running around and everybody's like, she's the greatest of all time, and she hadn't proven it, she's already proven it. She's already done it. She's already done things that, ask any gymnast, that no other gymnast could even attempt. No other female gymnast has ever done some of the things that she's done before. And, that's it. I don't know what else to say. If she's feeling she can't do it, then she can't do it. You know what I've said all along: cancel the fucking Olympics. I think they're stupid. It's a super spreader event. I think that we didn't need them this year. They should have canceled all of it. But people need to be entertained, so fucking we're entertained.
Well, and the athletes that spent so long preparing and wanting to compete, doing it for them as well, or mainly for them, I would think.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just putting more people at risk.
Well, it did cause an explosion in COVID in Japan.
Of course. So getting all those people together to get this thing together was probably not a good thing for that country. But what do I'm sensible. What the fuck?
It's hard for me to really get a temperature for how people are thinking about Simone Biles now. I would hope that over the week their thoughts have changed, especially because she took to Instagram, but not everybody has Instagram or checks Instagram. And on her Instagram story, she shared a series of slides explaining everything in detail and even showing video. She has been still training and wanting to compete.
Well, she's competing. She's doing the balance bar later this week.
Oh, that's good. I mean, if she doesn't pull out, right?
No. She just announced she's doing it. So she's in. She's back in.
Oh, okay. Well, that
happened this morning. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. Fabulous.
And that's the thing. Out of everything that she does, it's funny. Like, to me, I've never done any of that stuff. But to me, the balance beam is the scariest fucking thing. Like, you're up in the air. You're on this piece of fucking wood that's like, 4 inches wide, and you're doing flips and you're landing back on this board. Like, the floor, you're only so far away from the floor. You know what I mean? Like, you're twisted around and okay, but falling off that beam at that height or hitting that beam with your head, or that, to me, I would think, and maybe I'm completely wrong, but I would think that's where you would need to be the most brave. To me, it scares me. Watching people on that fucking thing scares me. So, she's amazing. All those athletes are amazing that do that shit. I just, none of it makes sense to me. It just doesn't. I'm baffled watching it.
I hope she's gotten her Twisties in check, and I hope it all goes well for her. And
baseball players have it happen, Perez. What's it called? The IPS. I think it's called the IPS. There's been baseball players that all of a sudden forget how to throw, right? So they'll be like second baseman. The Yankees had a second baseman once that he couldn't throw to first base anymore. He got it in his head that he couldn't do it. And it happens from time to time. And players completely forget how to do what they've done their entire life because it's your head. It's a head game, Wow. It's crazy, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Speaking of a head game, maybe things got to her, but Naomi Osaka was defeated by not anybody ranked very high. So she had an early exit in tennis in the Olympics. And I haven't really been watching because my kids don't want to watch. I'm like, kids, you want to watch the Olympics now? And they're like, no.
It's on in my house all day long.
Have you had any memorable moments?
No. It doesn't have the juice because there's no fans there. There's not enough fans there. It kind of reminds me of watching baseball last year. Like last year's baseball season didn't really count to me. I know they played it, but without fans, it's just different. There's a stress thing that's not there. And it just feels like you're watching people practice. It doesn't have the juice.
Well, yeah. Congratulations to all the US athletes that have won. And do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. I bet it could be hard work. You know what's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowners or renters insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com. Oh, goodness. So DaBaby, this rapper whom we spoke about on the podcast before.
Super talented.
Yeah, I mentioned that his Grammys performance is one of my favorite of the night. He just really stuck his foot in it in a festival performance in Miami at the Rolling Loud Festival. He said just some, not just homophobic, but also factually incorrect, stupid things. He said, if you didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, or any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2 to 3 weeks, then put your cell phone lighter up, fellas. If you ain't sucking dick in the parking lot, put your cell phone lighter up. Like,
don't even try to make sense of this. There's just, what the fuck is what I mean, just kept going back to.
I could try to understand the first part, right? Like I could sort of understand. All right.
You can. Why would you bring that up? Like, what is the point of bringing anything up?
Okay. I think he just wanted to make people feel so special to be at his show. Like, yeah, we're alive. We're having the best time. Thank God we're not going to die. I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Like I can maybe understand that. But then when he directly targeted men that have sex with other men, he literally said, you're not welcome here. He said, fellas, if you ain't sucking dick in the parking lot, put your cell phone lighter up. Like, he wanted every guy to put their cell phone lighter up, and he wanted to single out the ones that did. Like, that's just saying you're not welcome to my party if you're a gay man. And that sucks. Like, this gay man showed you props earlier this year. This gay man thought you were cool. Now I think you're a piece of shit. And he apologized.
I can't untangle what the hell he was trying to say, or he can't even attempt to. Why bring anyone's sexuality into your, like, you're on a stage, like, what's wrong with, hey Miami, what the fuck is up? Like, yeah, it's just so weird. It'd be the last thing on my mind.
He tried to apologize, and his apology just made things worse as well. He said in apologizing, I said, if you don't got AIDS, put a cell phone lighter up. I said, if you ain't sucked dick in the parking lot, put your cell phone lights up. All the lights went up, gay or straight. You want to know why? Because even my gay fans don't got fucking AIDS. Stupid ass N-words. They don't got AIDS. My gay fans, they take care of themselves. They ain't no nasty gay N-words. See what I'm saying? They ain't no junkies on the street. Well, he clearly is dumb and ignorant, and maybe isn't aware that HIV and AIDS is not an exclusively gay disease. Like, people that are heterosexual, children.
Perez, stop. No need to untangle this. Yeah. Okay. No need.
All right. So that was just really disappointing. And he suffered a lot of backlash. Dua Lipa, who has him on, I would say it's the biggest song of 2021. Wouldn't you say?
That version I mean, and it was him being added to it. I mean, that song was kind of not really working. They added DaBaby through the roof. I mean, he made that song. He really did. He made that song happen. And
yeah, like that song is still in the top 3. And anytime I get in my car and I listen to the radio, I hear it. Although ever since this controversy, or maybe because I'm listening to the oldies station 104.3 my FM, I don't hear the DaBaby version. So that's good. It makes me happy. Radio should start playing the Madonna version. Now, Madonna's on a version of Levitating. Did you know that?
I did not know that. No.
Now you know that. Madonna's on let's all play the Madonna version instead. But Dua Lipa said she was horrified and she does not recognize that person that she worked with. Then T.I., for some reason, felt he needed to interject and insert himself in this conversation, saying that rappers are being bullied by the LGBT community. You know what, bitch? Sometimes people need to be bullied. I'm going to say DaBaby, and you need to be bullied, T.I. The fuck? T.I., who's been accused of sexual assault by how many women? I've lost count. Like, maybe you should have shut the fuck up at this one, okay?
You make a good point there. I hate to agree with you wholeheartedly, but I do. Shut the fuck up. Sit down. Sit down. Have a seat.
DaBaby lost some sponsorships as a result of this.
If people want to be mad about this, I think they have every right to be mad about this.
And he was supposed to be one of the headliners at Lollapalooza over the weekend, and that got taken away from him. Lollapalooza said that their festival is built on inclusivity and acceptance, and they said he's no longer going to be performing at Lolla, which, oh my God, I'm concerned for the Illinois area, 100,000 people, even if they're all vaccinated, because they did not implement a mask policy at Lollapalooza. Like, I don't even know what their policy was, if you had to be vaccinated or not. It was just 100,000 people in real close proximity, and that Delta variant spreads. It's like more contagious than chicken pox, I was reading.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. In a similar but different, not as bad, but still bad controversy, Matt Damon, also in a head-scratching moment, was being interviewed by the Sunday Times, this British newspaper, and he explained that he only stopped using the F slur, the derogatory word for gay men, some months ago in this year, because his daughters taught him not to. He told the newspaper, I made a joke months ago and got a treatise from my daughter. She left the table. I said, come on, that's a joke. I said it in the movie Stuck on You. She went to her room and wrote a very long, beautiful treatise on how that word is dangerous. I said, I retire the F slur. I understand. And you know what drove me insane is when I shared this on social media, the amount of people who had the nerve to say, well, at least he realized he was wrong and at least he stopped saying that. First of all, he knew it was wrong, but still continued to do it. Like, come on, it's 2021. You, as a heterosexual person, know that you should not be using the F slur, just like white people know that they should not be using the N slur either. You know, like, oh, at least he stopped being racist now. Like, come on. I don't understand what got into his head and why he
froze
said
up
that.
on me.
I don't know why that got into his head and why he said that, you know, but
I still have internet, so
yeah. I said what I had to say about Matt Damon. What are your thoughts?
I mean, you know, some people may take longer to get to where you're supposed to be. You know, I think it's brave to tell that story. You know, I think it's brave to say I was wrong. And look, I think some words mean something to some people and other things to other people. And I think just explore that possibility. I don't think that sometimes people are telling you with their own words, as he did, that he didn't think it was hurtful because he was not talking directly about a people. He just liked the word, it's a curse word. When you look at stand-up comedians from the past, they're little, I look at some Eddie Murphy things and I'm like, wow, I can't even believe I laughed at that now, but things change.
Old Eddie Murphy jokes.
Sure, they should. And I think a lot of people do. I think it's just, moving the conversation along, but it's back to your initial point. It's head scratching because this is a really intelligent human being. And it seems very logical to me that you would have had a talking to at some point with someone about that. But I think this goes back to, I think there's people that when they get famous, and I think people lose track of where society is sometimes because you're in your own little box. Like I'm constantly getting sensitivity training. I'm constantly getting HR courses that you have to take. Most major corporations do that now. And it makes you look at things and say, oh, I didn't realize that was wrong. And I hear people do things all of the time. It goes back to intent. I've heard people say things before you'd say, oh, I don't know if I would use those words, but I'm not the police. I'm not going to call people up, but it's just part of language and growing.
I have a question because I wasn't even going to talk about this, but I'll mention it briefly. It's actually a popular show. Have you ever watched that Selling Sunset show?
I watch all of those shows, but I'm not sure which one that one is. Is that the one with Josh Flagg?
No, Selling Sunset is on Netflix, and it's a real estate show, and it's very popular. The story, I
don't know if I've watched that one.
The story broke over the last week that one of the stars of Selling Sunset, this woman named Chrishell, is dating the boss. And I joked, only in Hollywood is it acceptable for you as the boss to date your subordinates. In your sensitivity training and all of these trainings, are there rules? Do they say like you cannot date anybody below you, like anything like that?
Yeah, of course. And listen, it happens all the time. People date the boss all the time. It's not that you can't. It's just that you got to go to HR. Everybody needs to know. Everybody needs to be. It needs to be transparent. You need to these things. Look, your circle's your circle. If you go to work every day and you fall for someone at work, you fall for someone at work, but everybody HR has to know about it. And there's steps that need to be taken in modern day workplace.
All right. Well, speaking of modern day workplace, similar to the Simone Biles thing, which now that I think about it, I think it's good that we have these similar stories because it's not necessarily like, I don't think people's reaction to Simone Biles has anything, or I could be wrong. Maybe it has. Okay. I don't think that most people's reaction to Simone Biles is racially motivated. Now we have Scarlett Johansson suing Disney, and she's, white. And there's like almost a similar divide as well. Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney because she claims they broke their contract with her. Her contract for the Black Widow film, according to her, but I don't know why she would lie because a contract is a contract.
The whole lawsuit seems sensible to me, but yeah, continue.
Yeah. If you present the legal contract in a court of law, a judge and jury can look it over and be like, yep, that's what the contract said.
Yeah.
It would shock me if she's lying about what the contract said.
Well,
but
it's not necessarily what it says. Sometimes it's what it doesn't say. And that's where I'm sure it's getting tangled up.
Okay. So she claims that the contract said that her film, the Black Widow movie, her first standalone as that character, needed to premiere exclusively in theaters. And that did not happen. Disney premiered the film simultaneously in theaters and on their streaming platform, Disney Plus. Now, we're dealing with COVID. When these deals were done, COVID did not exist. So it is unlikely that these contracts had a global pandemic clause in there.
Right. Yes.
I'm sure going forward, there will be a global pandemic clause in these superstar contracts, but when they did them, there wasn't. That's why, last year when Warner and DC were releasing the Wonder Woman movie in theaters and also simultaneously on streaming, they reached out to Gal Gadot and they renegotiated with her. Mm-hmm. They said, hey, we're going to give you an extra $10 million or whatever it might be. And she signed off on it. Scarlett Johansson, they did not do that with her. So she's suing them. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, ungrateful. They, made you so rich, entitled, spoiled, blah, 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 blah. Listen, a contract is a contract. And if they did not honor their contract, they did not honor their contract. It's as simple as that. I do have to say it is ballsy and bold and brave of her. And she's doing this because she can, because she's got fuck you money in the bank. Mm-hmm. I probably would be afraid of alienating this behemoth that is Disney. They own Disney, they own Marvel, they own ABC mm-hmm. network. Like, I'd be afraid of never working with them again, but she's not afraid of that because she's got enough money. But that's what's weird. She's got enough money. I mean, listen, I'm all in favor of her. I support her decision for doing this, but it's almost like an opportunity cost. By suing them, she can get maybe $10 or $20 million more. And I guess, that's a lot of money, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
I don't know the contract. I don't know the deal. I assume that she wants what she signed. That's it, and she didn't get it. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to play out, but it just goes back to what you said. It's because of the pandemic. I'm sure, the COVID clause did not exist. And maybe they asked her, hey, can we, maybe they did nothing. Maybe they did nothing at all. Who knows? You'd think the right thing would be to say, hey, we're just going to do this. I think people make decisions sometimes too, without kind of looking into every corner of everything that was written down. Maybe they didn't even know they were breaking their clause. Who knows? Maybe they thought they had, maybe there's something else in the contract that says, maybe there is an asterisk somewhere, something. Who knows? I don't know. I can't,
Well, Disney, for their part, said in response to the lawsuit, the release of Black Widow on Disney Plus with Premier Access has significantly enhanced her ability to earn additional compensation on top of the $20 million she has received to date. And now Emma Stone is reportedly considering weighing her options on suing Disney because she had a similar contract that the film had to be released in theaters exclusively, but it was also released on Disney Plus. I'm just surprised they did not reach out to their talent like other studios did. I guess they thought, oh, we're Disney, we don't need to do that. I don't know.
Or they didn't think at all. Like I said, I think maybe somebody made the decision, hey, this is what we have to do because of where the world is. And they didn't really dive into it. But once they committed the foul or the error, they should have really reached out and said, hey, we kind of screwed up here. How do we make this right? Because we know we're in the wrong.
Yeah, I'm surprised they let it go all the way to an actual lawsuit.
Right.
Like in court. We're going to get to Olivia Rodrigo in a second, but first, whether you rent or own, Geico makes it easy to bundle home and car insurance. Having a home is hard work, so get a quote at geico.com. Easy. Olivia Rodrigo, I'm surprised, as of right now, she has not addressed this. And maybe that's actually the right thing. Maybe it's a good idea not to address it. Because I don't know if Ariana Grande ever addressed it either. And she has done something very similar. But this video of hers has gone viral in which Olivia Rodrigo is speaking with a so-called black accent. or in AAVE, African American Vernacular English.
You did it earlier with DaBaby, for the record.
I know. I noticed that I did that and I stopped myself almost instantly, though. I did at the very beginning and then I stopped because I realized.
Are you gonna apologize?
Well, I corrected myself right away, but I will apologize if my initial thing
I don't care either way.
anybody.
I'm just making a point.
No,
I'm making the point that like.
No, I did, and I'm glad you called it out because I noticed that I did it, and if you go back and watch or listen, I stopped. I stopped. I changed almost.
It's okay. Continue. It's fine.
No, I think it's an important lesson. Like when you slip into something like this, that you can just as easily slip out of it. So I did. Anyways, I think it's an even more prevalent thing with young people.
Yeah.
With Gen Zers. Like, don't they all do this?
I don't know. When I'm doing my Eddie Murphy impression and I try to sound like Eddie Murphy because I'm doing an impression, am I in the wrong? I don't think so. I'm just doing an impression. You know, I think.
Well, that's another thing.
The woke police is out of fucking control. Okay, let's just calm down.
Wait, that's another thing. I was also trying to sound like DaBaby. I wasn't just speaking like that normally, like Olivia Rodrigo was.
That's my point. I just think the woke police is out for her on this one, as the internet often does. And I think not saying anything is the right move.
All right.
Because who's really fucking offended? And if you are, go get a job. Get out of your fucking basement, get some light, a little bit of sun would do you well.
All right. Congratulations. I guess that's not the right way to explain it, but in an Instagram live, Travis Barker's daughter, Alabama, referred to Kourtney Kardashian, dad's girlfriend, as her stepmom. Did they secretly get married or she's just hoping? I don't know.
Did she cut off all her hair?
Not all of it, but he cut off a chunk of her hair.
Okay. Yeah, I saw some story, but it looked like she had like a Jada Pinkett Smith cut or something. Or maybe that was just the picture, the clickbait I clicked on. Like I was just asking. I don't know. Maybe it's like still long.
Speaking of the Kardashians, people are freaking out because Kim Kardashian's son was wearing a leather bib.
Okay.
I just think
it's a big deal funny. There.
Oh, I just don't know if it's very practical to have.
I would think it's easy just to wipe it off that. I would think it's just sponge right to it. No, I would think.
Are you supposed to clean leather with water? How do you clean leather?
It's probably pleather, number one. It's probably not even real leather. And and that's all it is. You just wipe it down. I just think it probably doesn't, you know what I mean? But I would think for a bib, wouldn't you want it to soak shit in? Isn't that the idea for a bib? Like you want it to capture the wetness of whatever you've dropped on it?
It depends. Some bibs have like a little like pool at the bottom that collects stuff.
That sounds disgusting.
But that one didn't. Speaking of Kim Kardashian, Perez Hilton, her longtime friend, is having a moment. Perez Hilton is having a bit of a comeback. Mm-hmm. I think maybe sparked initially by that documentary that she released last year. She released that documentary. She's got her own podcast now. And now she's got 2 TV shows. I think we talked about one of the TV shows. She's doing a show on Hulu chronicling her marriage or getting ready to get married, chronicling the journey to bride. And in another show that was just announced on Netflix, that's kind of a bigger deal, she's doing a cooking show, Cooking with Paris, which is kind of very similar to The Simple Life because I don't think she's a cook. It's more like a jokey show.
Yeah, Selena Gomez too.
I don't think Selena's was a jokey show though, was it? Did you watch?
No. Once again, no one's going to watch this either. It's cheap programming that, you pay a star and maybe you get a couple eyeballs and you get some headlines like us dopes talking about it. And, it's
Selena Gomez show is coming back. So at least enough people watched it. They're doing another season.
She's got a lot of fans. I'm sure her fans watched it, but I never heard anyone say, hey man, it was great. You know what I mean? Like The Simple Life, people said, hey man, this is great.
Oh my God. Oh my God, my dog just farted. This is disgusting. Oh
My
my
cat earlier
God.
took a dump. It was in the box back here. I haven't smelled it
Oh,
yet, but maybe she just peed. I don't know.
oh,
Or he. I think
that,
it was George.
wow. Teddy, that is so gross. Like he's right next to me, like, oof, the deadly fart. All right, on to Britney Spears. For the longest time, Britney's mother, Lynn Spears, was not involved in the conservatorship and was very hands off. She became involved in 2018, according to legal documents. She said, I became involved in the conservatorship during what I will term a time of crisis that began at the end of 2018 and continued on to 2019. I became involved in this conservatorship because I wanted to ensure that everything in my daughter's life was handled in the best interests of my daughter, the conservatee, which I did not believe at the time, and I still do not today, to be the case. So she's basically saying that she wants the father removed as conservator, and she supports.
I didn't hear that. You're kind of saying
Well,
you're putting words in her mouth. She basically said what she just said. She said that things.
All right, fine.
A time of crisis that doesn't even suggest that the father was a bad anything. It just said that Britney herself could have been in crisis from something else for all we know. You're building a bridge here that you're taking some rights here. You shouldn't.
Okay.
You're jumping to a conclusion.
Okay. I was basically,
to be fair.
Okay. I was basically trying not to spend too much time on this, but since you insist.
No, I don't insist. I took her words for face value, and it is what it is.
Well, I was basically summarizing everything she said. She went on. Lynn Spears, Britney's mother, says, Mr. Spears has relied on members of the conservatee's household staff, medical aides on site at the conservatee's home, and her own security detail to inform on and report back to him each and every detail of every action that takes place in the conservatee's home and her life. Such scrutiny is exhausting and terrifying, like living in custody. Since this conservatorship has been in place, the relationship between the conservatee and Mr. Spears has dwindled to nothing but fear and hatred of Mr. Spears by the conservatee due to Mr. Spears' behavior, including his complete control over her, his mistrust of her, his coercion of her, his bartering with her over what she can and cannot do for whatever reward or punishment he is willing to met out, his constant threats.
I'm falling asleep. I really am falling asleep. You're saying the same thing over and over. So now you're making your point. That is indeed what she said. And now you can draw that conclusion.
Okay. And she said even more. So I was summarizing
it's fine.
everything
We've got
she
it.
said.
Well, you didn't throw in the second part.
I'll give you one last sentence. She signs off saying, it is clear to me that James P. Spears is incapable of putting my daughter's interests ahead of his own on both a professional and a personal level, and that his being and remaining a conservator of my daughter's estate is not in the best interests of my daughter, the conservatee.
Right. Now, to me, it's crystal clear from what the evidence that you gave to me. I'll give you the point.
Okay.
Perez.
Jesus, you went off on like a minute long.
Jesus, me. I did not. I just said from what you had presented to us.
I didn't want to keep reading everything.
Okay, but you had to give us a little taste of why you said what you said. You just said, it's completely clear. Well, it wasn't clear from the statement that you gave us.
Fine, whatever. Additionally, the other conservator, this woman, Jody Montgomery, also filed paperwork claiming that Britney's doctors also do not think that her father should remain as her conservator. So, I mean, let's just not even take into consideration what her mom said. If I'm the judge and this woman's doctors are saying that her dad should not be the conservator anymore, I don't see how he could remain. Like, it would be shocking to me if after the next court hearing on September 29th, if her dad remains. So there's that.
Yeah. That still makes me think there's a lot more that we don't know. If it's even a possibility, to your point, if there's even a possibility that, everything that you just said is accurate, what more is there? Because there has to be a compelling case on the other side. Like a judge isn't biased. A judge isn't like, I need him to be doing it. A judge doesn't give a shit who does it.
If the conservatorship must remain for whatever reason, Britney and her new lawyer have already chosen whom they would like to be as her new conservator. So
yeah,
there's that.
They're also dismantling the old way. I mean, that's going to happen. It's inevitable that the dad's going to be out of this. And, the question is, will she be out of a conservatorship altogether, or will there just be a new one? My guess, new one. That makes her happier too. Good.
Yeah. For a time being, I think her goal is eventually to no longer be in this situation.
Yeah.
She, I think last week we talked about the topless photos, and she loved them so much that she kept posting them, and even
the same one, right?
Yeah. And even kept posting topless video from that same shoot. Hey, whatever makes her happy. Also, she has been getting into art. Art is therapeutic for many people, so good on her. In more music related news, Kelly Clarkson has been ordered to pay her estranged husband $200,000 a month in spousal and child support. I wish I knew, though. I did not see for how long that has to remain.
Probably till the kid's 18.
Or for the duration of their marriage, like at least the spousal support part, right? Like if they were married for 5 years, then usually it's like,
yeah, I don't know how that's a good question, but I thought most of that had to do with, it's for the kid though, isn't it? Or is it just that he just gets the dough and because he was married to her? I mean, it is California, you get half. I mean, shit, to be honest, I think she got a break. Because you know how much money she has. She has daytime television money now, too, on top of Kelly Clarkson money.
Well, and on top of the $200,000 a month, she also needs to pay his legal bills, which you know how much that has come out to thus far?
That's probably $1 million easily.
$1.25 million.
Ouch.
Crazy. Speaking of musicians and money, Ryan Adams, who was accused last year by several women of inappropriateness, took to Instagram to basically plead for a record label to give him a second chance and to save his music career. He says he's living in his sister's basement and he's afraid he's going to end up broke. And he's already kind of broke, he says. I have no record deal. I'm kind of broke. I have no friends. Okay, I have my best friend from when I was a kid. Why not just self-release music? Like if you need money, he does have a fan base. Ryan Adams is known. Like self-release it.
You still need studio time. If you have no money to even do that.
You don't need studio time. You can record shit at home. Things have changed in this day and age.
Yeah.
All right. 2 quick new music things, and then we'll get some calls. The only song to really cross my ears and mind and register over the last week was this new Silk Sonic song from Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. It's called Skate, and I both love it. I only love it, but clearly like his whole vibe with this project is retro, and that's fine, but he's just done that over and over again. But you know what? When it's so good, you can't hate on it. I can't hate on it. I love the song. Have you heard it?
No.
You haven't? Well, it's really good. I love it.
I was going to talk about the Måneskin song. This song is like breaking. It's like number 1 on 4 different charts. It's streaming like
the begging
Måneskin,
song?
Måneskin, Maneskin.
Begging?
I want to be a gay. Whatever I want to be your slave, or I want to be your whatever.
One. Oh, cool. Yeah.
That song is just, it's like kind of punk rock. It's kind of, I don't know, it reminds me of.
It's not really punk rock. It's more like glam rock, I
Yeah,
would
glam
say.
rock, right. They won the Eurovision competition. Yeah, but it's doing crazy. And
well, they had another hit earlier with that song, their cover of that Four Seasons song, Begging. I'm begging you.
So it's an interesting one to check out. It's,
I like that song.
Yeah.
You did listen. I did not listen, but you listened to the new Billie Eilish song. What are your thoughts on that? The album, sorry, the album. I mean,
I interviewed Billie the other day. We sat down and yapped for a little while. It's Billie Eilish. I mean, it's not my favorite kind of music, put it that way, because it's the same sort of whispery sound. But there's different moods to it. It's an interesting album. Check it out. I don't know how, I don't know hits. I don't know what it's going to put out for hits, but it's interesting. It's Billie Eilish. It sounds like Billie Eilish. If you're a fan, you'll like it.
All right, let's take some calls.
Take some calls?
Yeah.
All right.
Hey guys, this is Sylvie. I'm calling from Boston. Okay, so the Halsey thing. Chef. I don't get this stuff either. I really don't get it. I'm just like okay. But I think she's completely wrong here because so listen. Most people are like, I want to be referred to as she, her, because she is singular.
Okay, I don't have time for this. I don't get it. It's yeah, it is what it is. You want me to call you a tree? I'll call you a tree. Okay.
Hi, Perez. Hi, Booker. My name's Mallory. I'm calling from Denver. I just wanted to say that I love the new music segment that you guys have been doing. I've been waiting 2 weeks. I'm curious to know if you guys have listened to John Mayer's new album and what you guys think about that. And also, I know you guys have been mentioning a few things here and there about Erica Jane. And I'm just super curious to know, too, mainly Perez, what your thoughts are on that and, deeper. Do you think she's going to be getting in trouble? Do you think that, criminal charges may come about? I don't know. I'm just super curious to hear your guys' opinions. Love the show. Thanks so much. Bye.
Haven't heard the mayor. Want to hear it. Not sure about anything of the Erica Jane.
I definitely think that criminal charges are inevitable for Erica Jane. The investigator, the government is even looking at the show to see moments where she's contradicted herself. She said one thing on the show and then another thing to authorities, and they want to use that against her. So I don't know. She's screwed.
That's it, huh?
Yes.
I just wanted to add to the conversation about they, them, and whether it's grammatically correct to use those pronouns when we refer to one person. So I'm an English language teacher, and here's how I try to approach it. Let's say that you are working in a restaurant and you notice that a previous customer left a wallet behind. So you say, oh, someone left their wallet here. I'll go outside and see if I can catch them. So
yeah, I mean, I use the same example when you get robbed. If somebody robs my house, you say, they robbed me. It's the same thing when it's one person. Yeah, I understand it. It just, I'm just saying you must understand that it's confusing for people to get it right. And to call someone out on it seems harsh to me since it's going against the norm of the norm. The one person has one heartbeat, has one soul, has, one set of genitalia. That's the problem. Not the problem. I think that's the confusion. Put it that way. That'd be what I'd say to that. You got anything to add?
I did. I did have somebody explain it to me that way. And I could, that makes sense. Whatever. I'm over it. I'll say
I don't care. That's the whole thing. I just don't care. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't anger me. I guess it bothers me when it angers other people. I'm like, I wouldn't get angry over it. It's like whatever to me. Let's wrap it up. 800-721-1185. Perez said the most important thing, share the show. I don't care if you write, you guys won't believe that I listened to this show. It doesn't sound like it'd be great, but it is great. Say why you think it's great. They got two people with two different opinions, whatever you got to do, but do share it that way. Any new ears are appreciated. We appreciate you sharing it. So there you
And
go.
if you want us to be on your TV shows together, hit us up. If you want us to perform at your venues, we could do that. We're down for whatever. So email us, DM us, whatevs. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.